So who won the battle of the summer blockbuster? For the first time, we got to see DC and Marvel play out against each other at the box office on a somewhat even playing field since maybe 2016. With the release of Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps, we're gonna look into all the numbers, the fan reactions, and everything else to answer the question, so who won the fight? All that and more in today's video. Now, it's been no secret that this summer has been a shockingly good time for movies in a long time. I'm not just saying for DC and Marvel stacking against each other, but also The Naked Gun having great reviews and having the return of spoof movies, which wasn't really on my bingo card for this year, along with the new horror movie Weapons dropping in a few days since the release of this video. It's been a pretty good time. Hell, I'm getting some good use out of my local theater chain, but something that hasn't happened in a long time is the basic face-off of DC against Marvel in a relatively even matchup. Now, when I mean even, I'm saying that this is the time when the DCU has just started under the more focused version of co-studio head James Gunn. Also, this is the time when Marvel isn't at the untouchable juggernaut era it was during Phase 3. With those external factors in mind, we can say that both of these films kind of represent both studios at different points in their trajectory. So the big question is, how are they performing? Let's start with Superman. It had the third biggest domestic opening weekend of 2025, raking in about $125 million, behind the extremely successful Minecraft movie and Lilo and Stitch. Fantastic Four First Steps also enjoyed a strong start, grossing $117.6 million domestically. While both boast impressive numbers, there has been a drop-off, with Fantastic Four's second weekend as the data has been coming in with a 70% drop. Superman suffered a drop of only 53%, meaning that Superman still had the audience's interest through the second weekend and performed above studio estimates. Now, what's really interesting is that despite having a stronger opening stateside, Superman didn't see as much immediate success internationally. Fantastic Four First Steps opened stronger with about $100 million compared that to Superman's $95 million. But Superman had a softer drop-off in the same market, making about $5 million more in that second weekend than Fantastic Four did. We still don't have conclusive numbers, but we do have the data to get an estimate of what to expect from both movies' theatrical performance. Superman acclimated about $171 million internationally in 2 weekends, narrowly beating Fantastic Four's $170.3 million, meaning they both almost did the same, with Superman just doing marginally better. Now that we've talked about the numbers and the hardcore money, let's look at the reviews. Now, the thing about reviews, like we always say, is that they're entirely subjective. Some people can leave the theater not liking the movie at all when the general public loved it. But if we look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, the Fantastic Four does slightly better over Superman with their 86% critical rating to Superman's 83%. If you want to include the audience score, it's even tighter with 91% for Superman and 92% for Fantastic Four. So again, we went through a lot of the data that Hollywood and analysts use to deem a movie a success. But who actually won between DC and Marvel? If we're looking at purely raw money, it looks like Superman is going to edge out Fantastic Four as the movie that won the box office, and more people paid to see. But if we're gonna be honest here, both movies did really good in their own ways. Superman did what it set out to do as the new chapter in kicking off DC's attempt and getting their movie slates back on track without the baggage that came before. People were hyped and excited to see this movie, and to be real, the marketing did indeed work. Hell, even I bought a Superman-themed Blizzard at Dairy Queen when it dropped. It was mediocre, by the way. It's just birthday cake flavored ice cream with blue dye in it. But that aside, the hype around this movie was indeed justified. It's a brand new, hopeful Superman compared to the more dark and grounded take of the previous era, and it shows that the audience was really excited to see that. Also, I think that the memes and word of mouth outside the movie really did help, at least with what was splashed all over my algorithm, so I can't really put that into a factor here, but I saw more Superman memes than Fantastic Four. Plus, Punk Rocker is on my playlist now, thank you James Gunn. Fantastic Four was also somewhat in a similar situation. Being the start of Phase 6 reinvented characters that we've seen before with their own dark and edgy portrayal, and overall just setting up the team for a big Marvel blowout that is Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Both of these movies had a lot on their plate, and the fact that they are both well received and doing slightly well is pretty great in the grand scheme of things. I'm not gonna lie, leading up to this summer, I was way more excited for Superman than I was Fantastic Four, and I'll admit, part of that reason is just personal bias. I've always leaned more towards DC characters. There's just something about seeing a fresh start for Superman that actually feels like it's embracing the comic book side of things and instead of trying to be embarrassed by it. I went in wanting to love it, and honestly, I had a blast. Now, Fantastic Four was great too, don't get me wrong. The trailers and the way that Marvel decided to introduce us to the team and the alternate version of retro-futuristic Earth really excited me. There is that expectation that it is just laying groundwork for Doomsday, of course. This is still the MCU after all, but it actually had more weight than I expected. The performances were solid, and it felt like they finally figured out how to make Fantastic Four feel like a family. It's a little bit ironic actually, with some of the reviews coming out that the movie slows down a bit when they don't focus on the family drama stuff and have to do the big comic book movie stuff. But still, when I think about which one I'd rewatch right now, it's Superman. It's not the better film if we're being technical, I'll admit that. Fantastic Four might be more polished and might have a tighter script, but Superman was just more fun. It had energy, it had heart, it felt like the kind of superhero movie we haven't seen in a long time. One that's actually optimistic without being boring. It had side characters that I actually did care about, my favorite being Jimmy Olsen. So yeah, I think that both of these films did what they were supposed to do, but they also got me back into that mindset where I'm actually looking forward to what comes next, not just tolerating it because I feel like I have to keep up. I think the best thing to come out of this is that we have a positive outlook ahead of us. Both studios have fixed the issues that have been plaguing their movies for the past few years, and now they're pretty much better off having learned those hard lessons. Will these movies hit $1 billion every time? Probably not. 2019 was basically the last big gasp before streaming took over, and ever since then, studios have kinda trained audiences to just kinda wait it out. Like, why rush to the theater when you know it'll hit streaming in a month or two? It's gonna be a while before we ever see that $1 billion every movie era again, if it ever comes back at all. Studios need to readjust their expectations and start focusing on making solid movies with more reasonable budgets instead of just chasing unrealistic numbers. Now, while we probably won't reach the heights that superhero movies did like during the Infinity Saga days, but at least we'll be able to leave the dark days of gritty reboots behind for now. We're still in a good spot to basically just reach a new golden age of superhero films. At least, I'm optimistic about that. But that's all I have for this topic today. Please leave us a like and give us a sub if you enjoy our content. And don't forget to leave us a hashtag mailbag question for us to answer in a future video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?